You want to break the game. Well, congratulations. These games are all about math, which means half the work's already done for you. Now, there's lots of reasons to want to do this. Just to challenge yourself, to challenge someone else, dealing with a particularly nasty threat, or filling a gap left by another player leaving. But there's some things you should never use it for, and that is to ruin the fun of another player or the DM. And DMs, be aware of doing this, because most players will understandably have an adverse reaction to it. Now, escalation in a game is something that both parties have to come to an understanding about, or else no one's going to have any fun. And if no one's having fun, what's the point? And players, remember the DM has final say. You may have found some wonky skill combo that ignores resistances or stacks up damage into the thousands, but if the DM says he's not allowing it in his game, then that's it. It's done. It's not in the game. Alright, so DMs, just because you have a player that's good, you don't need to single them out, or at least don't make it so obvious that you're doing so. Because if the player has all their cool stuff taken, all those cool moments taken away, then they're less likely to stick around. So it's a good idea to measure things out, ways to create challenge without creating roadblocks to fun. In a game of escalation, no one really wins. That said, min-maxing is not game breaking, as long as you hold to these certain rules. First rule, you're building a character. Your character is more than just a set of numbers, and when you build a background, you have personalities with hopes and dreams, you're less likely to treat them as a min-maxed block and more like a real person. 2. Work with your DM. Your DM has to create the world that you operate in. If you're going to be pulling surprises on them, then you're just going to be screwing yourself over. It's got to be fun for them as much as it's supposed to be fun for you to play. And 3, always understand there's going to be a bigger fish. There will always be someone tougher, because if there's no one tougher, there's not really a game anymore. And you don't really want to just walk through all the enemies on easy mode. Do you really? Now, there's a number of ways to game break, min-max, and stack stuff up. Here's going to be a few ways how. And now all this depends on what type of setting you're in and what kind of system you're playing in. Now, the first and most common is also the one that needs the most planning, and that is stat stacking. This is for when you are going to be plotting out your adventuring career, and you're going to want to pick items, feats, skills, everything which levels together and is going to create additions or multiplications or whatever to certain stats and certain ways of playing. If you're playing a heavy damage dealer, you're going to be wanting to pick out every single feat, every single skill, every single ability in these books before you lay down your first level. And what you're going to be doing is plotting out every stack until you get to that point. This unfortunately can limit you in certain ways because you can easily end up as a one-trick pony. Now, if you're doing this in the melee way, a good way to do it is picking weapons and feats that either lower your crit threat or things which stack your damage. Lots of things which are increasing it by adding in weapon element damage, or things which will add in higher strength bonuses, power attacks, sneak attacks. It's always useful to take a level in Rogue just for sneak attack because there are so many ways and so many different games to get it. Stacking sneak attack is always going to be one of the surefire, quickest ways to rack up damage for any type of character that you're going to do. Now, another way is to completely bypass stacking your damage numbers and to go for unorthodox ways of just completely removing the enemy's way to defend themselves. And that is battlefield control. Now, if you build a character based on battlefield control, you are stacking on ways to move them around, ways to deal with tripping and pushing and pulling, completely controlling the way that they move around the battlefield. carrying jars of slippery fluids, carrying bags of marbles, carrying ways that will trick your DM or trick your enemy or trick your players into having no control over footing and movement. And then when you do that, you have all your characters built around having complete control of their own movement. Have characters that have spiked-soled shoes and always carry around jars of grease with them. Have characters that are strong enough to lift and throw characters, because even at a couple of feet into the air can stack up massive damage with the way falling rules work in most of the games that we play. Now, if you want me to go into an actual in detail how to min-max a specific style of melee or wizard or cleric or whatever, write in the comments something you'd like to see min-maxed, and I'll do my best to put something out for you. Until then, this is Crackers Boy signing off and reminding you to have fun, work with your DM, and enjoy yourselves. Bye-bye.